All right. Okay,
Hey, we're not matching today.
we're not matching today. Intentionally do not wear. I did not pick that one up. So,
I almost did too. I was like, not this time.
so I'm fired up about something.
What are you fired up about, man?
Efficiency.
What about it?
I am almost tired of hearing it. Is that, oh, we don't like to do pair programming because it's not efficient. I don't want to share my work with somebody else because it's not efficient. This, that. I think we're missing a point. I think either people are not getting it or we're not thinking about it. And I would probably say, okay, let's find, we're not thinking about it, right? Let's go that route. People are not thinking it. I think there's a difference between being efficient and effective. Efficient, I would say you do things fast, you do everything awesome. But if you're not delivering the right thing to a customer, you're not being effective, right? So for me, the whole agile thing that we have today, the whole Scrum, whatever that you call it, it's actually being effective. It's effectiveness. It's not efficient. I think to me, Scrum is not efficient.
No.
Scrum is all about being effective.
Yep.
And I get fired up when it's like, seeing people, even metrics.
How much can I squeeze? How much more?
Right, how much more can I squeeze, right?
Yeah.
That's efficient. You're trying to be very efficient.
So if you're saying, if we're defining efficiency, and as putting more out, and then effectiveness as making an impact and delivering value, what is the common misconception I think that you're getting at is people think that delivering more more stuff is what we want out of it.
Here's a change for you. Efficiency is about reducing waste,
Yes. Okay.
right? So say, okay, I've got 8 hours in a day.
Yes.
I don't want to waste my 8 hours.
Okay.
So I'm gonna cram as much as I can in that 8 hours. Sitting in front of the computer doing stuff.
Right.
Well, yeah, I'm there. I'm taking the hours. I'm doing work at that point.
Don't we, as part of Agile, try to eliminate waste also? As
We
naturally,
do, right? Naturally, we eliminate some of the waste, right? But so let's talk about it. Communication, right?
Yeah.
It's not efficient to have a group of people sitting together talking about, background refinement about a story.
You know what's efficient is I just give you and tell you what to do.
Right,
and
that's
just
efficient.
Do
Okay, get it done,
it. Yeah.
right?
Back in the day.
Back in the day, but that's what it is, right? But it's not effective because it's not effectively delivering the right thing. So, maybe I will give it that there is a balance. People, maybe there is a balance, right? Efficient isn't effective. They're different. So we have to look from both standpoints. I think there's a recent movement about Agile is so old. It's all about lean.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So lean is about reducing waste.
Yes.
Right.
So are they talking about reducing meetings and reducing all the collaboration and
Right.
all that? So what is it? Just here's
Use your work and do work.
So we're going back to where we
where
we're devolving
Right.
back into it. Well, I mean, I honestly, so listening to that, I think it's because the reality is, and many coaches out there say, Agile is hard because there is a lot of, you do reduce efficiency when you adopt one of the frameworks. Like there is not that. We're focused on delivering value. We're not focused on just delivering a quantity of things.
Well, and I think that's agree, and that's I think where business fall apart is where they deliver on this day.
Yeah.
How many can you deliver on this date? But in a year, how many stuff can you deliver? They want us to deliver fast. But what if we're not delivering anything? There's no value in there. It's not being effective. What's the point?
So my rant on this, and it's almost I want to just like put a referendum out there for anybody who says like, oh, we need to be more efficient. We need to be more efficient. Is I think that there is a misunderstanding of software development in general, where I believe that there is a guard or there's business schools teach this, that building a product is, we're treating building software like building a physical product.
Right.
That we're going to put code out like it's an assembly line, and we're just going to pump it out, and we're just going to
Right.
pump it out, and we're
Right.
going to write code all day long, and it doesn't work that way. Software development does not work that way. The markets change, the technology changes, the people change. There's a lot of things that change out there that make software development so different than actually making a physical product. A phone is a phone is a phone. An iPhone 7, the components are the same. I can put that through an assembly line, and it's going to be the same thing over and over again.
Right.
I can increase efficiency there. But how am I going to increase efficiency on something that is so amorphous, so vague? It's like you can't really define. It's not the same thing over and over and over again.
Can I give me a thought? I think that if you think about it, the problem that Samsung has with the battery exploding.
God.
Right? So we look into it as to why they explode. They're trying to squeeze as much power as they can and making it smaller and smaller.
Yep.
And the problem is that when there's two contact points they're not supposed to touch, and when they touch, we know that they will blow up.
Not a lot of room for error in there.
Right. So essentially they were going for efficiency,
Yep.
right? But it's not effective.
Yep.
There's just so much you can push.
Yeah. I think that's a really good way to put it is, yeah, that's an example of a physical product that they're trying to get it out the door and squeeze so much. And again, I use the word squeeze because it sounds like it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're delivering. Can I get a little more? So, I mean, I agree. There is an odd shift in the industry towards efficiency.
So-
now, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, that's not.
But I agree that there needs to be a balance.
Right. So I think I would almost argue that the first thing you do, number one thing you walk into a shop, a company, first thing you look at is, are you being effective? Once you become effective, cool. Can you make it efficient? So I'm going to play with the words here.
Yeah.
Are you effectively efficient, or are you efficiently being effective?
That's interesting. And you want to be efficiently being
Effective.
effective.
Right? You want to be efficiently being effective.
Because you want to hit that stride first where you're actually
Right.
making a difference, delivering that
Right.
value, and then get really good at it.
Right. And get really good at it.
Right. But getting to that point is hard.
Yes.
But you can get there. Teams do
Right.
get to the high performing. Is that what you would
Yeah.
consider a high
Yeah.
perform? Yeah, they get there.
Yeah.
But it's really hard.
Right.
And you can't, I would argue, you can't rush that process.
And indeed, that's true. You cannot rush the process. So even if you look at Shuhari,
Yeah.
you get to the final level. If you're, you get to Shu, get to Ha, get to Ri. When you're at Ri, you're executing fast. Guess what? Then there are things that you don't need anymore. So potentially, you're running Scrum, and you're running effectively, and you're really good at delivering, and you figure out how to deliver really fast, effectively. Maybe now you go to Kanban.
Yeah.
Is that one way to look at it?
That's one way to look at it. I mean, in my experience, you go to Kanban when you've become very effective, where you're at Re. I
Yeah.
always say, like, you hit Re, that's an opportunity, like, everything is coming second nature.
Right.
And Kanban is a very disciplined, things need to be second nature.
Right.
Whereas Scrum is good because it's very lockstep.
Right.
That's a really good way to look at it. Yeah, I would, yeah.
So how do we impact? How do we make the impact? How do we send this message to the folks that are in this state of being efficient? Because that's who we are. We are being taught in school, efficient.
Yeah. It comes down to, so at first I would say, I'm reading Lisa Atkins, Coaching Agile Teams again.
Oh, I like that.
Going back to basics, but I would argue, so we talked about Agile coaches and Scrum
Right.
Masters last week. I would argue that if your organization has Agile coaches and Scrum Masters, that they are the guardians of effectiveness. That they need to be the voice. So when they're met with we need to be more efficient, It's no, we need to be effective first and explain this is what effective is. And I think that going back to what you were saying earlier, like this effective is making an impact, delivering that value, even if it's not a lot of things that deliver value. I could deliver 100 widgets
Right.
that are low value, but if I deliver 5 of them that are like going to rock the world of the customer, I'll take that any day.
So difference in price point. I can do a very low graded, low quality stuff and mass produce and sell it for really cheap versus something that is of high quality at a high price point.
Yeah.
Interesting. So interesting. So what would you tell a person? How would you approach a developer? Say, hey, you're being efficient but not being effective.
It's difficult because now we're going back to 2 or 3 talks ago where Rider and Elephant.
Yeah.
I think we may have talked about this at one point. A developer's job is to be as efficient as he or her can be.
Right.
Why am I going to rewrite code if I can reuse code? So from the beginning, a developer's goal is to be as efficient as possible.
Is that wrong? Did we set the wrong mindset? Did we set them wrong in the wrong mentality? Because today that's happening. It's just that they are trying to be very efficient, so they don't want to rewrite work.
Right.
They don't want to redo work, right? So it's like, okay, cool. I want to write this one time only because I want to be efficient. So give me everything I need to know now.
But that's not accounting for the one thing that we mentioned earlier, is that in software things can change.
Right.
And it's okay, and we have to. I don't say we have to. We coaches, managers, leaders have to do a better job of making change okay.
Right.
We're faced with individuals and groups that are seeking to be perfectly efficient in an industry that is highly inefficient. Some of the most successful companies are constantly changing. Facebook, Spotify,
Right.
You name it, the successful ones out there, they're constantly changing. They're releasing code, continuous delivery.
Right.
Continuous delivery means that they're probably revisiting some things that they built over and over and over again, but that's okay. We have to make it okay.
Right. So there's a part of so developers are very data oriented. They are very, in a sense, they do some I guess adjustment calculation in their head as to whether this works, that doesn't work. So they have a theory. There's this calculation you do, x plus 1. They're very, I don't know how to, calculative, I would say, maybe. And they don't understand the going to market first, right?
Yeah, I got you.
Whoever goes to market first with that feature locks in the client, even though they may not have the best,
Yep.
the client's on board.
And everybody else is playing catch up.
Everybody else playing catch up at that point,
Yep.
right? And I think developers sometimes don't see that. They want to build this perfect thing that they don't have to redo anymore. It's so perfect. It's efficient and done. Whereas on the business side is that we're running a business. We need to go capture this market somehow. In order to do that, we're going to put something out there for them to try certain things. So it's okay not to capture all market. We can just capture a small market. So at that point, it's being effective in doing that. Are we being effectively helping the business capture the marketplace? Is that something what we would say to a developer? I mean, maybe they don't understand. Maybe they don't care.
They may not understand, but I think that there is merit in having that conversation with them. It's like, at the end of the day, what we're building is what's going to make us money and what's going to help us continue to build and
Right.
continue to grow. We've got to, it's that necessary evil. We've
Right.
got to get it out. And that's where those who are more business savvy say, we go to market first. We plant the flag first. It may not be the entire beach,
Right.
but at least we've got a beachhead that we can build out from.
Right.
And customers will say, well, we'll come to us because we're the first ones out there. And we're like, okay, they're going to measure everybody else based on that.
Right.
And just because we put the flag doesn't mean we're done. We're going to continue to build
That's
out
right.
from there. Before we break, actually, there's one thing. I had a great conversation with one of our product owners, and I'm not going to mention her name. She'll probably get upset because I'm not stealing the idea. This was something that came from her. She was having a conversation with the team.
Right.
And you would probably consider it a very efficient team. They don't want to revisit things more than once.
Right.
And there was this one topic, they were going through a refinement, got really heated. They saw there was a mock-up, and they were like, oh my God, why don't we just build that
Right.
instead of building just this little piece?
Right.
Product owner stepped away because she was like, oh, I'm not really sure how to pitch this, but came back to the team and was very open and honest and said, we're not going to build that whole thing, number one, because we don't know the impact that's going to have.
Right.
We can build this entire thing, put it out to market, and none of our customers use it. But if
Yep.
we build this very little thing that we know they use and they will use, then we can gauge to see if we need to build that going forward.
Now that's an example.
They looked at that as, okay, you saved us from waste. We're
Right.
not going to build something that's pie in the sky that may not be
Yeah.
used. When I heard that, I was like, that's a perfect way to explain to an engineering team that's trying to get it done
Now-
right the first time.
That could have gone a really different way, right? That could
Yes.
have gone to where the PO says, do what I say. I'm not telling you why. Just do what I say. Now that's efficient.
Yep, that is that. Yeah, just do it.
Just do it. I'm
Here's
the PO,
here's the
just do it,
specification.
right? Just do it.
But what happens is that you don't. From there, you destroy one of the core. I don't want to say values or principles. But one of the things that we try to achieve with the agile mindset is that the team has a sense of ownership
Right.
of what they're building, that they have a decision, that they can push back. They're not just drones being told what to do and they just build it. They actually care about what they're building. They may question it more. They may enhance it more. They may put a little more heart into it because it actually had a say. Whether they got it passed or they got
Right.
shot down, they had a say. And how many times you and I have been in a situation where it's like, here, just build this thing, and we looked at it and we're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And we built it anyways because that's the way it used to be done.
Okay, so I'm gonna
And they
spin,
never use it.
I'm gonna spin this totally different way now, and people are gonna hate me for this. Does that mean that if I run, so there's a difference between running distributed teams and running co-located teams. I see co-located teams needing more communication, more touch point, providing much more touch point than compared to what's possible with the distributed teams. Right, you're remotely, you're not face to face. You have to consciously make the effort to do communication, right?
Yep.
Does that mean then the distributed teams are more efficient? And they may not be effective, but they're indeed more efficient.
They have to think twice about turning around and having a conversation that may not have of any value. Like every conversation, everything they do, they are literally trying to get a squeeze value, but they're trying to be effective in that case. They're efficient because they're cutting out the waste, but they're
Right.
being effective because they're having the right conversations
Right.
that need to happen because they have no choice. They're distributed. It's not like, oh, I'm going to run into Richard in the hallway
Yeah.
in about 10 minutes. It's like, if I don't reach out to Richard, I'm never going to see him.
So the fallout is that on the flip side, they could be very ineffective,
Right.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's my thing for this week is I've been struggling with this thing. I've been kind of almost upset a little bit, fired up, because I see this going on. I was like, well, why don't you guys get it? It's effectiveness versus efficient. If all you tell me is you're being efficient, it does not mean you're being effective. And the example that came to my mind when I was in that conversation was, look, databases, right? When we're designing databases, we say don't duplicate data because they're not efficient, right? So don't do that.
Yep.
But then when you turn around and say, well, I need to run X, Y, and Z report and things like that, that will degrade the performance of a transactional databases. So now we're going towards, okay, well, what can we do now so that we don't impact our transactions? So now you have a data warehouse model that you have in play. Now you're duplicating data, right? But you're being effective because you're delivering value at that point.
Yep.
And you're duplicating the data.
The data makes sense. You
Right.
can do something.
And
with
it's not efficient,
No.
but it's effective.
But that's why you got the transactional and you got the warehouse.
Yeah.
There's that clear division of each one has its thing.
All right.
My thing that grinds my gears, and I'm going to jump on what you were saying, is that software is different. We need to stop treating software like we treat every other product. And agile coaches and scrum masters, it's our job to bring balance to the force of effectiveness versus efficiency.
Agree. And that's what I struggle with every time. Oh, all right. So I think this has been a good conversation.
Yeah, very good.
So we are gonna miss one session next week. This guy here is gonna be on vacation.
I mean, we can talk, but I'm not sure I'm going to be in the right frame of mind. I'll be talking to you with a pina colada in my hand.
That might be a good, interesting experiment
Oh, God.
to have him on remote, and then we'll capture all that and see how that goes. I'm not sure if he's going to be coherent or not when he speaks.
Probably not. But it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Thank you for those that have been listening and following us in all the things that we've done so far. We've got some good suggestions and topics on what to talk about. Definitely continue to do that. Shout out to TJ for providing that topic for last week.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And we got some feedback
We saw
on
some
that
feedback
topic,
on
too.
the topic. Keep in mind, we're here. We love this conversation.
Yep.
We enjoy it. We're learning as we're going as well. We love to share with you our thoughts and love to hear from you.
Sounds good, man.
All right, so this is a wrap. This is Master Asian Call.
And C-Rod, maybe see you next week. Maybe not. Who knows?
Bye.